Okay,
Go ahead.
okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first CEDC meeting. We're changing because I get confused. We're changing from CED, Community and Economic Development, to CEDC, Community and Economic Development Council. So that when they talk about the CED committee or the department here in town, well, I don't get it mixed up. So see, CEDC, that's us from now on. Just persnicketyness, I guess. And I'm calling us to order. Did I say that already? Do we have to vote that to order? Or we'll just call it?
Just call it.
And our first thing is for public comments. So, public who's here, feel free to comment.
Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. It's hard to comment on something in the very beginning when you haven't heard everything else. So it's like I didn't look, but are we able to comment at the end or comment as you go? Because that's the problem with public comments in the beginning, unless you have something, I want to possibly talk about.
Sure.
But it's on the agenda and you haven't talked about it yet. But I'd like to hear, what you all is going to say about the townhouse. And I'm looking at the list of your future considerations, however that's worded, to address in the future. And there's a few things on there that are going to be concern to me. And one of them being on here, help for encouragement. Am I allowed to talk about this before you're okay?
It's up to you because it's public comments.
Okay.
So I think go ahead, but so I'll just interrupt you for 1 minute and say, I absolutely hear what you're saying. It always kind of bothers me that we have public comment before anything else, before we've done any other work that could be commented on.
It's the same as the town
So,
council too.
I don't know if we can put a public comment.
Well, I mean,
in
we can,
after.
yeah.
You can put it out, well, maybe not this meeting, but for future.
Right,
meetings,
for
get
the
out.
future.
Public
Sometimes the vote, if there is a vote, it's already done deal. That's the same as the town council. But anyways, a couple of things that I'm concerned about is, first one off the top of my head, and I have a few others that are concerned on that. The statement here, help for or encouragement of construction of the potential rehab facility near the NIP. And it says it could, if possible, to reaccept, provide significant financial support for towns and schools. There's a lot of issues with that. It's not such a simple matter of just, okay, we'll have a rehab and it's gonna get, no, there's a lot more to that, and it's in the NIP. If it's gonna be, it says near the NIP, it's across the street. So there's a lot of issues with that. So it's not a simple cut and dry and make it sound like it's a financial support for the town and schools. There's costs involved with that, and I have issues with that. Encouragement, I'm waiting to hear what you're saying about the unused property on Spring Street across from the 99. I don't know if you're meaning that vacant lot that's nobody's been able to build on. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Then I'm waiting to hear that some of the other things, which I don't know where it falls. But it's stuff they have that grant that was awarded to the town for the improvement of the intersection that's by Mobile Gas Station. I and others that I have talked to were wondering why that particular intersection, because it's really not that bad compared to a lot of others. So I don't know why somebody applied specifically for that area, because you have to apply and say you're concerned for a particular area. There's other areas. I mean, when we first all heard it, I was thinking, oh, maybe you meant Spring Street. No, it's not Spring Street. It's in that area, and I've driven there and walked there. There's a heck of a lot more places that could warrant that type of grant. So I am disappointed in that.
I think there are reasons for we can.
Yeah, so that would be, but that's all I can, I have to listen to what you say on other things, but
Thank you. Good. Donna?
Donna Jewel, 50 Keith Place. I had a question first I just wanted to see if I could confirm this committee looks, ad hoc committee looks the same as the downtown revitalization former committee that I don't see
Except I
listed
wasn't on
anymore.
that one.
Okay. All right, you weren't. That's right. You
Mark-
came to the
Mark
meeting.
was on the
Mark.
list.
I came to one of those.
So is this committee replacing that?
They did away with the downtown revitalization ad hoc and it's just CED right now.
Okay, so it's folded into this. Thank you for that. And as part of that, I had attended some meetings with the downtown business owners that Justin had held. And they were really good. There were maybe, 7 or 8 business owners or property owners there. And Justin talked about things that were going to be done downtown, such as the blighted property and the facade improvement grant. And there was a lot of interest, that raised a lot of interest. And they were told they'd be notified when the next ad hoc committee came about to take that a step further. So I didn't know whether to notify people because I didn't know if it was the same, and I looked at this agenda and neither of those topics of declaring the downtown blighted or the potential for facade improvement grants, neither one of those were listed on the agenda. So I didn't reach out to that group. And I think that's an important loop to close, whether it be closed by this committee or by Justin, because there was interest in doing something.
The work of that subcommittee will be going to be done by the CED though, so that'll be brought back in probably in future meetings.
By this, when you say by the CED, this CED
Yes,
or the
yes.
town?
No, this CED.
Okay, because I know some of those people that would like to attend. And then what Janet just mentioned about how the crosswalk was selected by the mobile station, and I believe maybe there's a second grant on Park Ave that's
Yeah.
coming up. Although they may need that, it just seems that those are being in an area away from the center of town where we need to revitalize.
It's probably brought about by the university, so it's probably they spearheaded it, and that's why it's being applied to areas around the
There's several
university.
events happening, but so we can talk.
Okay, we can talk about that. And I do agree with Janet's comment about public comment. It'd be nice if they'd be both at the beginning or and the end, or if they could be intermingled with the other subjects. And I know this is smaller than the town council, so maybe there's flexibility, but I think that'd be good. I did see on there that the mobile station was listed somewhere in something I read. And I just wanted to bring something that came across in one of my business articles about what Milton has done with a similar building, just some food for thought. And when I was going through it, wow, this is almost like what everybody's been talking about.
It's just one page.
It's right here. It's a building that's been reformatted by a restaurant owner. And it also has
Be a good breakfast place.
yeah, but it also encourages them to use the outdoor facilities in the area. And I thought, oh, gee, that might be something that maybe if somebody wanted to talk to the town of Milton, it could. And then as part of this group, I'd love to see some short-term and long-term objectives. I know some of these things are going to be very long-term to happen. School Street, I don't know what the plan is there, but in just my head, probably that's, going to take some years. So it'd be nice to see some quick fixes downtown. And I know Justin has talked about he's working on the crosswalks and making the southbound side one lane. That it is one lane, but putting the markings down there and some other minor things that could be done probably in a day or two's worth of time. So I'd like to see if the committee can get some of those things moving. And if we could talk at some point about what type of businesses the town is looking to attract. And target that as part of, this committee's objective. And set a course for it, looking for big commerce, so we're looking for small niche kind of businesses, a combination of both in what areas. That's all. Thank you. And I'm happy to work with you in anything I can.
Thank you. Well, you guys are both valuable resources, so we'll consider that. How about down there at the other end of the room, Carlton or
Yeah,
Elaine?
she said after me.
Okay,
So Carlton had very quickly resolution about our FY 26 014. restoration of Park Townhouse. I just wanted to update, because this was put in a long time ago and council
Can you
asked,
say those numbers again for the resolution?
it's the resolution FY 26.
Oh, there, oh, I see, it's up
It's
here.
on the agenda. A couple of updates, corrections, the 1, 2, 3, 4th whereas, speaks about investing in townhouse with CPA funds. It says the exterior restoration was funded by and supervised by the Community Preservation Committee. I just wanted to make it really clear, the CPC does not supervise projects. We recommend to the council votes the appropriation, the town departments manage those buildings. We do have a liaison that goes to the projects and makes sure they're comporting with the CPA requirements. So that's one update. The other one is the 5th seat, whereas, and I haven't talked to Adeline about it, but it's a little bit out of date. And what it says is the CPC voted the historic features of the townhouse assessment. That has actually been sent to the town manager. The town manager's office received 3 quotes. We reviewed those quotes and we're waiting for the award for that interior assessment. That should have been done a week or 2 ago. I found out last night that it may still be a little bit delayed, but we do have a company that we want to have do the assessment.
Carlton, before you go, can I ask a question? So that's just to look at the architect?
No, it's to look at the interior only,
Yeah, but the interior of what?
the whole building, all 3 floors.
Okay, but I mean, it's just to look at the, like, the trim and stuff and what to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been in the townhouse?
Oh, yeah, you brought me in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot.
That's okay.
But if you look through the suspended ceilings,
Yeah,
way up high, at the very high ceilings, there's some big circular things like in the Academy Building council chambers
mhm.
and other places that they covered up all of those. There's also a pocket door. There's also a stage. The question is, what are in a reuse scenario, what parts of the building should we keep and restore? That's what it's trying to look at.
Okay,
And
thank you.
so that's what we're funding, but our grants did not ask for a electrical, mechanical, structural, how much weight can it support? Which, by the way, the cultural report that was put out some years ago has a document in it that somebody came in from Providence, the company, and looked at the weight bearing capacity of the interior floors. They have estimates, but they couldn't open the walls up enough to know what the structure was. So we need to have at least 100 pounds per square foot weight bearing. I think I've gone through it with a couple of architects recently, and I think it's probably okay, but we really need to confirm that it can bear that much weight. So that's not in the interior assessment. That goes to my last point. Adeline's grant that she requested and the town submitted, we were informed that it has been received, and the CPC has received a letter from the town manager indicating that the match for that grant, what we needed, that grant, I think it's
$8,000, so we would have 16,000 to work with.
right.
So
So
what's the grant, what do we have to use the grant for?
it's for,
That was a mechanic.
it's an assessment of the electrical, mechanical,
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was stated
the
that.
accessibility, all of that kind of stuff. ADA. So just to update everybody, that letter from the town manager said that grant was approved. And the CPC will be requested to provide the match using our admin funds. Basically, that's what I wanted to make sure as you consider this tonight. That's in the record. Thank you. Adeline, I hope I didn't mess it up.
No, not at all. I'm glad you spoke to it. He's got more depth of knowledge than me. So in terms of the CED committee, I agree with the other two that we need to have public comment in the front and in the back. So I hope you guys will do that in the future. In regard to the, excuse me. I should put my glasses on. On the mobile station. Okay, would it be the Bridgewater Improvement Association, you think that would be soliciting the businesses, or for the mobile station? Or are you guys just, it says add your suggestions and thoughts, like this is your opening meeting, basically?
Yes, those parts of what I have written on that, when you look at what I had for the committee to do. Those are
Okay.
to make sure that I'm not just dominating things and that the other members are having plenty of chance to say what they'd like to see talked about as well as people who are coming in and giving us information.
Okay. Okay, well, that's all my questions, really. Everybody else has done their questions.
Okay.
Counselor Hunt, there are people online.
There are people online, okay?
Several, so if you can ask them if they want to speak, they need to raise their hand.
Will they just hear me? I mean, since we can't see them.
They can hear you, yes.
Just
Okay.
ask for any public comments.
So,
Tell them you're on public comments and they can raise their hand to, Melissa Ramadetta has raised her hand.
okay, Melissa. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Sorry, I just walked up the stairs. Hold
Okay, take a breath.
on. Just threw dinner in and walked up the stairs. 317 Lakeside Drive, Bridgewater. The list of tasks and considerations this evening for the CED committee includes the Encompass Rehabilitation Hospital at Lakeshore Center. This project's no longer active, as the applicant recently withdrew it without prejudice. It should be noted that Apex, in its February 2026 water impact statement for the rehabilitation hospital, recommended a moratorium on all building under the town's water infrastructure and ability to increase water capacity were improved. During the January 24th, 2023 Town Council meeting, Councilor Eric Moore gave an excellent presentation about the PDD and urged the council to do their homework when faced with important decisions about further development at Lakeshore Center. The PDD and Lakeshore Center today are very different from the original plan for the PDD and Lakeshore Corporate Center created in 1987. Lakeshore Center now represents the largest population density in Bridgewater, with high impact development, including 589 residences. Lakeshore Center has exceeded what many would consider its appropriate land use within the PDD. Tax dollars alone do not justify development of yet another project at Lakeshore Center. I am here this evening to ask the CED committee to do the homework now, before any future Lakeshore Center projects are brought before the town, and to share with the public an analysis of the collective impact of the existing Lakeshore Center development on Bridgewater's town infrastructure, finances, education, public safety, water supply, sewer capacity, natural resources, and most importantly, its residents. Thanks for hearing my comments, and I'm sorry for the delay.
Okay, thank you. And I'll interrupt just for one quick minute for everybody. What you're looking at there are just things that I typed out kind of about things that CED might want to think about sometime. They aren't things that we are taking on, putting under our wing right now and starting to do. And just so you'll all notice, if you look at it, after each one, it says additional. Committee members should have their suggestions and thoughts. So that's for everything that we're doing. These were just thoughts that I was thinking when I became chair of this committee, and just what things might we want to start thinking about, talking about. So just because it's on there doesn't mean that we're going to make it a big deal sometime. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But that's just something. This meeting tonight actually is our first meeting, and it's a chance for me to say to my fellow members, hi, thanks. Here's some stuff that we think we might want to do. What do you want to do? How are we going to do it? That sort of thing. So this isn't a really in-depth meeting tonight to try to tackle projects. Okay, I kind of didn't say that because I wanted to let everybody go ahead and talk first, but I'll put that in there now just so people don't think that we're gonna take all those things that are listed there and do something about them tonight. Nope, don't get around to that, okay? Is there anybody else who, thank you, Melissa, for talking. Is there someone else who would like to speak?
Jean has her hand up.
Okay, Jean?
Hi, how are you? This is
Fine.
Jean DiBattista, 260 Lakeside Drive. I'm also here because I saw this line on the agenda about Encompass. And I have similar concerns to that of Melissa in that we continue to be in a water crisis in Bridgewater. We have other strained resources that are really, really obvious. And this particular area, as Melissa said, has gone through quite a bit of development. And I believe any further development would represent overdevelopment. Also, I think this is, even putting this here is concerning to me. I understand what you said, Marilee, because it shows a lack of understanding of what residents have been trying to communicate for the last 3 to 6 months, which is we want to see the critical infrastructure problems in our town mitigated, and we want to see real progress on them before we continue to build. And, basically, that's very concerning to someone who has listened to many town meetings in the last 3 to 6 months, along with the information that has come out multiple times online. Very interesting information. And I really think Bridgewater really is at a time where we can't kick the can down the road anymore. We have to look at solving those problems, those critical infrastructure problems, water, roads, traffic, even having the available emergency personnel before we would consider more of these projects. And I understand that this was just a note in your document, Marilee, but at this early juncture, I feel like it's important to say these things directly to this committee because we really need you to understand what the Bridgewater residents have been trying to say for the last 3 to 6 months. And when we see something like this, we feel like the message has not come through. That there is a lack of understanding of what residents are experiencing. And I will say this, one thing that bothers me a bit, I'm definitely not a financial expert, but I have talked to some people that love to do those kind of things. And it turns out that you, from what I understand, and something that you might want to explore, is if you get more commercial revenue, it actually does not increase the budget. It only increases the budget if you actually have an override that's passed by the residents. It may decrease their real estate taxes, but it doesn't increase the budget. So that is one thing I think it's important for this committee to understand. The other thing that I would really like this committee to look at is whether or not we could simply increase the commercial taxes that we're getting from developers, which are lower than the taxes in nearby communities. So I know this community is here. This committee is here to look at development, to consider what's good for Bridgewater. But I ask you to really think about what's going on at these times, because really, with everything that everyone has said, with all the information that's come to light, we really need to see balance and control here, and we need to see that there's consideration for whether or not adding a new project is going to cause additional problems for Bridgewater. And so that's all I'm going to say tonight. I appreciate your listening to me. And I understand that this committee is just forming. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Do we have others who want to speak? Not hearing from any?
No one's raised their hand.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll leave time for people to speak at the end if they want to say a few things. And like I said, this is kind of it's our first meeting and kind of an organizational type of meeting. So I hope you can stick with us for that. We do have the very first thing, a legislative referral from the council for the resolution on the restoration of the former town hall, aka the townhouse, put forward by Councillor Ellenberg. And I think there's a lot that needs to be discussed in here. So where to start? Maybe we go through the whereases and see how the whereases all add up for everybody.
Can I just go,
Sure.
at the town council, didn't we talk about it just being, instead of this, having rescind and having just an ad hoc committee where they work on all the stuff, because instead of amending everything? And then the town manager had sent out an email saying that it doesn't matter well, not that it doesn't matter, the survey is really not going to decide, because he was in charge of property, so.
There are many things in here that aren't,
Well, maybe
that we couldn't really be in charge of, or wouldn't want to be in charge of, or shouldn't be in charge of.
so the main thing was to get an ad hoc committee to work on this, because this is a huge project. I agree with Ms. Ellenberg to have an ad hoc committee and let them really dig into it.
I don't agree with that. We've watched that happen. There are so many things that are happening right now. We do have, soon there will be an examination of the building. That's out for bid right now, and I think we would know within, I can ask Carlton, what will we know within a couple of weeks?
No, I think a month to 6 weeks to.
Okay, a month.
Well, that would go to the town manager, not the ad hoc committee. Right?
Yes, but that's gonna give information on what is gonna be able to happen. We also have had a person who's volunteered, maybe all of you saw the email to Justin. Very, very, very experienced, no, he didn't send it to everybody. A very, very experienced architect who very much wants to help.
A hired one or a resident?
He would be a resident and he'd do everything for free.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, it is truly wonderful, and he is very experienced with it.
And he has liability insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah. And we did spend a couple hours with him last weekend.
Is he on the planning board?
He is not. He has worked with the planning board. I think there's a possibility that he could be joining another committee and then helpful to us from that. But I think there are many things, when I go through each one of these things, there are many things about the townhouse that have either already been done, are in the process of being done, have been talked about so I would prefer to keep it with us and see what's happening. And then if we need to make some sort of a pre-committee of us to work on it. Or
So will we be voting on if we're going to decide who's going to use that architect? Or is he an architect or an engineer? Because I mean, we need to know the structure.
he's done
A license.
enormous work in New York City and in various places.
So he's a licensed
very
engineer.
experienced. Yeah. So it depends on what things we're gonna ask, we would be asking him to do. I mean, this is a huge project. I've worked on this project for 6 years. So, yeah, more than 6 years, actually, to tell you the truth. Because I also did the exterior in 2009. I did the ceiling and everything in 2001, 2, whenever that was done. So there's a lot to do there. If we have the grant, we do have the grant, the $8,000 that we have to match with another $8,000 for some,
Utilities, right? We're doing that in ADA. That's what it has to be, because grants are directed at what they can do.
yes, the grant is directed for what it can be done, and that's good. That's fine. As Carlton said, when he was speaking, you know, that we can use somebody to do that. That is far from all that needs to be done over there. It's a very big project, and there are many aspects to it, and I'd rather have us keep it here for the time being, and as we figure out what things we're gonna do, maybe then we can form small committees to look at it then. Yeah, Kevin.
Certainly. So in dealing with this resolution, again, it's aspirational, you know, by the council to the town manager to help direct him in a course that we're looking to do. So if we are going to follow through and send this back to the council in some way or form, again, we definitely have to rework some of the language here in the direction that we want to go. I agree with you, Marilee, in the fact that I do believe the CED should lead the direction of what we're doing with the townhouse, at least as far as plan, use, design, and that, you know, that's going to be the first thing that comes, you know, into fruition here before we take any action steps of you know, renovation, rebuilding, and things of that nature. Once we get to that level, I think at that point, an ad hoc committee that's going to oversee a lot of those things could be a benefit at that stage. But right now, we're not even close to that stage, right? I don't think we're at a place where an ad hoc needs to be formed. And in the first whereas, as it's been described, it's not accurate in the sense that, you know, the council ad hoc committees are made up of council members. They're not made up of public members. So I would like to edit or direct that first whereas to basically state that, you know, it should be in the hands of the CED at this point in time to get the ball rolling. And however we want to, you know, write that on up with the future potential development of an ad hoc committee when the time is right. At least, you know, as far as the language of sending back to the council for consideration.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Perry?
Yeah.
So the council ad hoc, when you say can't have, residents on that? At all?
You know, so based on the election that we just did, that the thing that we voted on was basically what I brought forth was the fact that all ad hocs in the past were appointed by the town manager.
Right.
So council ad hocs, we were changing that would be appointed by the council president.
Right.
So formation of ad hoc committees of the town council are made up of town council members typically, not.
Well, the typical was that this town manager, we had.
But the TIF was the one that was formed by the town manager to look at that project.
Right.
That wasn't being formed by the town council. The town council was gonna ratify it, but it was being formed by the town manager.
Formed the one for the school committee?
Well, the one for the school committee? What do we mean school committee?
What do we do at the school? What was Tim on? Oh, looking for the new town.
That was a
manager.
town manager situation. And that one's a little bit different animal because
Well,
it
he's
was.
a resident.
Well, yeah, but he was a former council member. Again, it was a small one that was mostly made up of town council members, and that was the debate whether or not to bring.
But if you as a president, can I pick who I want to be on my ad hoc committee and I could put residents on it? 'Cause I didn't see in the charter that they had to be all town councilors.
Well, again, when it was relative to forming ad hoc, that's what the vote was about, and the ad hoc committees of the council.
Didn't it just say that we would pick the members?
It would be appointed by the president. of the
Right,
council.
so couldn't the president of the council pick residents still?
Yeah, you have to go back and look at the language in the charter,
I
but
did.
for all the stuff that I've looked at, it's been mostly, you know, council members have been on most of the ad hoc committees I've been a part of. So the council of these, it's always been council members. We
Right.
did do a separate town, you know, manager search committee that, again, it was in the gray area of an ad hoc committee of the council, but it was a town manager search committee, basically, what it
Right,
was.
but it shows those two things had residents, whether Tim was.
That had one, but again, that had more to do with, you know,
But it
again,
was one of our ad hoc committees. So I don't see in the language.
it was still at the time appointed by the town manager. All those appointments were made by the town manager. So at that point,
We didn't change how it was formed. We're just changing who's going to pick the committee members.
well, but like I say, but I'm referencing to the council ad hoc committees.
Right.
So like I say, we did a gaming one a number of years ago. You know, that was just town council members. I'm trying to think of any other ad hocs that were put together. There's very few ad hocs that put together. It's usually specified reasons for a certain frame of time, which is why we dissolved the
I was
downtown
confused
revitalization.
about
Board.
that, saying that we, if as a president, I mean, it would be nice to have one or two residents. They are a huge part of this.
I mean, again, like any meeting, we can invite, outside people to it, but
Yes,
typically the makeup is.
I don't think
made up of
I'll look again, but looking at the charter, I think we should be able to at least have one or two. If I'm the president of the town council, I should be able to choose.
Doing?
in
What
res-
you doing?
I'll have to go look back at the language specifically. It might be open-ended, it might not specifically address it, but
I didn't think.
what I've gathered in the time that I've been on the council, it's always been council members on these ad hoc.
This is something we can ask the attorney,
Yeah, we can do that as well.
and then we know that we're.
But at least addressing the first whereas, again, I don't think we're ready to form an ad hoc committee at this time.
Right.
So I would definitely state that, I'll try and figure out what the language to do is. I would say that council shall consider, through the CED subcommittee, to advance the restoration of our town's former town hall on the common. But again, I would strike the formation of the ad hoc committee at this time. So the town council shall.
I think one of the things we need to do, Kevin, I appreciate all of this. I think we need to take more time to look at this, talk about it, and have it be a subject matter in our next meeting.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
Or the meeting after. I haven't thought about the next meeting, and so maybe
That's fine.
after that, where we can really focus in clearly on that. I don't think the council told us we have to bring this back to them.
No, it doesn't have to
So
be.
we can wait on that. We know that the money has been received for the assessment, and that's good. So there are many other things in it that are, do need to be really considered. And really
Again, it's a resolution, it's aspirational in nature, it's basically, again, it's not a directive, it's not an order, so there's not a huge rush on it. And if we want to, follow through with what Ms. Ellenberg's trying to propose, I think we just need to craft the language in a better situation that just basically, like I said, kind of takes it into two parts, whether part one is the CED looking at the use and direction of where we want to go with it, and then later on, once that's been decided, then an ad hoc committee can be formed.
Exactly.
And so the action steps can be.
I think we need to figure out our path first, and then we figure out what steps we're
Correct.
taking on it.
I would
And if
agree.
you'd like me to, I'm happy to check with the attorney and see what he has to say about who serves on committees.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
fine.
he thinks.
Yeah, if we have that information, that would help us as well.
And so
I think we'll have-
can we then now say that we're going to postpone more action on this?
Yeah, to make a motion to continue.
Yeah,
A motion to continue. Can somebody do that?
I'll make that one.
No second.
Okay. And all in favor?
Any further discussion that we want to discuss on this as
Discuss more.
anything further on the language of
I
the
think we should
same?
each look at it and then bring it all back together, because there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
And there's a lot in it that doesn't coincide with what is in.
Yeah,
So-
that way we can share our ideas.
Fine.
Great.
Not a problem.
Great. So it probably won't be on the menu for our next meeting, because I haven't thought about that, but it might be for the one after.
You're the chair.
Just warning,
All right.
just, because honestly, if people object, go ahead and tell me you object. I'll listen.
I don't think
That's my
it's,
kids. I mean, I don't do anything about it, but I'll listen.
I don't think it's.
No, because I mean, the grant is for
super
something
rush.
totally different,
No,
so we're good.
Okay. All right. So then let's move on to our D, items for discussion, which are all these things that I just went through after I found out I was going to be chair of this committee, and thought, what do I think about and what am I interested in? So that's what you'll see. You'll see after each one that I said additional committee members should add their suggestions and thoughts to all of these things. So I certainly don't want to be the only one saying these are things that we hope that we can do, or that we can try to do, or that we should do, or something like that. But I would really like to have your inputs for those, and what do we get rid of, and what are we going to keep? And I would like to say that for our next meeting, kind of following up on all of this, I'd like to invite many people who are included in maybe some of these things. So what I've written down is someone from the planning board, someone from CED itself. I have to check and see if we're allowed to do that. Somebody from community preservation, somebody from the Historic District Commission, someone from the Cultural Council, the chair of Elder Affairs, the director of the Senior Center, if we can do employees, the chair of the Open Space Committee, the chair of the Concom, the chair of Parks and Rec, and perhaps any of the other. I'd like all the boards, committees, and commissions who are out there doing things to know that we're here, that we're willing to listen to them, to see what they think we might be helpful with. If there's nothing that we can be helpful with, then that's fine too. But if they'd like to come and say, for instance, as chair of the Common, come in and see, what you think that we ought to be doing down there.
Well, your tree wardens looked at the trees, but Bill Smith,
Uh-huh.
he's working on updating the regulations from the last ad hoc meeting.
And so it would be good for us to know those things from these people, to hear what they're thinking of. So when we work, we aren't working ever in opposition to them. Unless something they're doing is really terrible. We don't think they ought to do it. But so that we work collaboratively with what else is going on in community and economic development. And that includes bringing businesses into town and everything. So we've asked Donna to come for that.
Merrily as chair, so are we looking to just get their feedback on what they're looking to do within their departments townwide? Are we looking them to address certain situations? As you mentioned, different topics here relative to those topics.
Yeah.
Because again, to bring all those people here and all the wide range of topics, I don't want to set us up for a 2-hour plus meeting here. Maybe it should be more problem focused, or if you want to get a survey out to each of these members and say, asking that question via email and then bring their email responses back that we can consider as a subcommittee.
I think first of all,
But if you want to address.
we won't be here. We'll be in council chambers because it'll be a much bigger.
Understandable, but I'm just saying, but again, I just, what direction are we looking to go with these people? Are we asking them particular topics on particular projects, or are we just, is this just a little bit of a?
I hope that's for them to decide. I would like them to come and say, what they're doing. Is there anything that they're doing that they think we could be helpful with? If not, we can hear what they're doing. We might think of something we could be helpful with. I think just to know that we're all part of the same deal. We're all part of this town. And personally, I like to know what's going on, why is it going on, how's it going on, and is there anything that community and economic development has to do with it, or should have to do with it, or could have to do with it that would make it better. So that's really it. It's more of an introduction of people who are working, doing a lot of the same things that I think we're hoping. So that's kind of what it is. It isn't really, if they want to come in and say, I don't know, something, we're working on this and we really want your help with it, then they do that. I don't think we need in that case, then we would ask them to come back to another meeting and talk with us about that specific.
Again, either way, either ask them to come speak directly or have them email you their thoughts and we can read and put on the record here as far as subcommittee, just in case anyone has trouble coming to
Yeah,
meetings at the time.
if they can't come, that's fine. I think there is something in face-to-face, seeing each other and speaking with each other and just getting a feel on what's going on instead of sometimes we just hear things like through the rumor mill. And I don't want to do that. I want to know from the heads of the groups that are doing things, what they think they're doing, what they hope they're doing, what they want to do, And if they think there's anything we can be helpful with. Is that okay with you guys?
If that's the direction you wanna go, I'll go along. See what they have to say. We can help them, I'll give them ideas. Well, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Like I said, it's fine. Like I said, you give them the option either to go in person or by email if they can't make the meeting. Just to still, the biggest thing is getting their input and information. But I would, give them the option either way.
And if you think of more people than what I have mentioned, should be included, I'll send something out. I'll send it out with the names that I'm thinking of inviting. And then you can add to it. You can detract from it if you really don't think it's
Might as well listen to everybody.
something
right?
that's gonna be
You never
helpful.
know.
And I know it's a lot. But to me,
It's a good start. We find out what their needs are. Maybe we can help them and not, at least if you reached out and connected with them.
that's kind of how I felt about it too. You know, I hate to think that there's somebody out there trying to do something that we could maybe be a little helpful with,
Yeah.
and we just don't even know about it enough to write them a letter of support.
No, I think it's a
or
good idea.
something like that. Is that okay with you? Do you guys want to vote on this?
No,
Okay. All right. So then can we look down through these things and you can tell me which things I put on there that you think I should get rid of? Or we should get rid of?
could I ask you about
Or we should have-
School Street,
Yeah.
the Hunt House? What is the Hunt House?
The Hunt House is the house after the fire station, the old fire station.
Does it belong to us or BSU?
That's the old
No.
high school, isn't it?
What's that?
House.
No,
The house in
it
between.
doesn't belong to any of us.
It's
It's
private.
right now, it's like a halfway house.
Privately owned.
It's a privately owned,
There's a house in between.
So it's privately owned?
yes, it's a privately owned
So you,
house that belonged to Dr. and Mrs. Hunt, no relation to ours. I don't have any relation to any of this. When I first moved to town 40 years ago, it had just stopped being the Hunt House, I think with Dr. Hunt. I don't know when Dr. Hunt died, but anyway, it was still called the Hunt House. It hadn't become the residency that it is now. And some of the long-term people in town, I think it was Judith Gabriel, who told me all about the Hunt House. It was the most beautiful house in town. That everybody loved it. It was really respected and all this. Probably isn't like that anymore. It's had all these people living in it for a long time. But it is there. It is, I think, structurally good. I'd like to have somebody come and check it out to see if it is still structurally good. We probably 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, we had a fabulous person who worked in town. What was Greg's position? Let me say it.
Sorry, planner.
He was our town planner. He was phenomenal. He was really, really, really great. And one of the things he wanted to do back then with the townhouse when we were still in it, they were still occupying it. And we knew that we wanted to get rid of the fire station. And that's been under process for a long time because it was really kind of defunct. And we were out walking one day and he said, the thing you should really do here is buy the Hunt House, move it over to where the fire station is, make it go lengthwise down the street, and make it be a business, a restaurant, maybe with housing up above it or something like that, that people coming to see their kids at the school have a restaurant there, or have a place they can stay overnight or something like that. Really sounded like a great idea, so I've been stuck with that.
How old is the house?
Very. I don't know, I haven't been inside, I've never been inside
Okay,
it.
so it's privately owned. We don't know what the conditions
It's,
inside.
it probably needs a lot to be done,
Okay.
but could it attract a business to come here and do that?
Or were they even willing to sell it and? is it
Yes,
even worth the
I don't
money?
even know.
Okay.
I don't even know. So it's
That's-
just, it's just a thought that hangs out there in my little thin brain all the time.
So the downtown upgrades, about the traffic and parking, Justin and I have been working on that.
Okay.
And I mean, I will continue to work on that if you don't mind, because you said we can pick things that we like.
Right.
So I'll meet with him and find out where we're going with that.
Great, great. Yeah, because it sounds like he's planning great things down there. Is there any other stuff under townhouse reuse? Well, you guys can always email me and tell me you're adding something here. No, and that goes for citizens who are looking at this too. You can send
Well,
them.
like I said before, Marilee, I think again, as a committee here, we should, either go back and pull back the study that was done that was looking at the use, looking back at the surveys that have been done. If we're doing an updated one through Justin, that's like talk about it. I think we need to kind of gather all that information and kind of finally decide on a direction of where to go with the townhouse first and foremost, just like, downtown, what direction we want to go in before we start, planting a tree or building a sidewalk.
Right.
I think the town manager said he was gonna decide whether it's he's in charge of town buildings.
Well, I understand that, but as far as the actual, purpose and use, I mean, we want to get a sense for the community of what we want to do. I mean, and then also, in partnership, in BSU and their involvement, they might want to get involved in the project and create some synergy between the campus and downtown. And again, there's been all sorts of discussions, but again, some of the things bandied about, and I've looked at as well, almost creating a mini Faneuil Hall, create some space upstairs to do music, to do, entertainment of some sort, especially with the stages upstairs. Then downstairs, create maybe a couple small food vendors that can maybe local business can put a little kiosk in there and sell some things when there's certain
I think,
events. And then you've got, Music Alley next door that, can maybe go back and do some things there. But just create more of a cultural hub that's going to bring in townspeople, it's going to bring in students, that will just, create some vitality to the downtown, which is ultimately what we're trying to do, create walkability, create vitality.
I think the town manager said he's gonna have an input in that because he.
Yes.
By all
he's
means.
control.
Definitely.
I understand that,
And
but I'm
because
saying that's,
you caught up, whatever survey that Mr. Hunt told me to read, it's it's the last one that was done. It's extremely, everything.
but I think that's, again, our job could be as the subcommittee is to gather all that information, do the legwork. Either, come up with a report and give that to Justin as far as this is from our analysis and work that we've done, the direction that the town wants to go in. And if he's in agreement, then we start formulating a plan. And if there's at that point in time a plan, then that's where your ad hoc committee comes in and execute those plans along with the town manager. But right now, we definitely just got to come up with a direction to go in based on all the analysis and surveys and stuff that have been done. Got to, come up with a final decision on what we want to do with this. And then again, it speaks to the School Street situation. I know at this point in time, I think the old fire station is probably in a situation where it has to come down. I don't think that the building itself, based on its condition, and it needs, but the funding to do so needs to be, determined. And then if that does come down again, considering the house next door, but I know there's been discussion of maybe some sort of parking situation, a small parking garage, is that something that's feasible? And do we try and tie in that garage once the funding, we find out how we're going to fund that, tie into the back of the old townhouse and create some, continuity there. So you got to get these ducks in a row and make some decisions in that regard. And then we can start, making plans going forward.
I
Exactly.
know Justin was working with BSU discussing about the parking. So Justin's been working on the parking.
Right. And I think at some point we have a meeting to kind of discuss this. We bring Justin in, he shares his information and we try and come up with some directions to go in.
And there've been some architectural people who have said specifically, number one, I want to save the mural that's at the back where Music Alley is.
And
So I know it might be difficult.
How's that land split? Like you said, the half owned and half. How do you know which side is which of the towns or the other private owner
Of what?
of your alleyway with your road?
Oh, because it's right down the middle. It's
So we're on the
uh,
left or the
it's
right?
24 feet and it's 12 on each side. Yeah,
That's crazy, huh?
it is crazy. It is crazy. But I want to keep the mural. I want to put it someplace if we can take the big bricks, the big blocks and put them someplace.
Is that on our side of the property?
It's on our side. Property. It's on the fire station, the back of the fire station.
Maybe we can have something.
It is the back of the fire station.
Oh, okay.
So when take down the fire station. What I don't want them to do is just like bash it all to pieces.
Yeah.
But maybe they will, but anyway, I don't want them to, so I'm just gonna keep on saying that until it happens. And other things like that, that I think we can, you know, we can think about and see who we can get to come in, who could give us professional assistance with things like that. I think are kind of important. To me, they are. Then, let's see. Use and protection of the common, we've been talking about that.
Yeah, I would like to keep that. I'm working on it. I know the sidewalks in here, but the walkways. So some of the trees that I had the town walk around with me, and some of the sidewalks, the trees that were planted were the wrong kind because their roots are pushing up. And he doesn't know how deep the roots go, so he's gonna look into that and see how much that would be.
The people who provide the care for it, for the trees, wrote to me last week or maybe the week before to say that some of the trees had been planted inappropriately.
Yeah.
Here at the Academy building and over there, and they were going to try to dig and get them
I
taken
think
care
I
of.
should speak to the tree ward, because he said sometimes these roots can go really deep in dangerous places.
Right.
Under the, so
Right.
he's really knowledgeable. I talked to him. He's really good.
Well, I'll suggest to them that they talk to him. BIA pays them for taking care of the common and for taking care of the Florentine Little Park and all that sort of stuff.
And I heard some of the ground lighting is old. How long has that been in there?
Background lighting has been in there since, I would say probably 2002, something like that, but we
Yeah.
redid it all when we did the first lighting of the common for, when the BIA did the lighting of the common for Christmas.
Some of the wiring plugs has been improved, but the electrical panel board was completely rotted out. It needs to be replaced at some point in time.
But we did all the in-ground, we redid it all.
There's a lot of wiring.
Because we started
There's some
looking-
still need to
We
be
start
fixed.
looking at that. So
And it all comes from the Academy building anyway. So when the Academy building has redone all of that electrical stuff, it doesn't?
Townhouse.
townhouse.
The power comes from the townhouse.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean Academy building, I meant the townhouse, that's,
Thank you.
yeah. It's late.
But in addition to that, again, Mary and I, with the downtown revitalization, we were working on a lot of this. And again, the biggest thing that needs to be decided, first of all, and I think some things have been kind of talked about, is locking in, the design of the common, the traffic flow, what are we doing with the parking, what are we doing with the sidewalks and things like that. So
I think that's-
initial discussions, we are, keeping angled parking on one side, but maybe doing parallel on the opposite side, creating bump outs for safety and crosswalks. Again, some short-term solutions to help the walkability and safety of the downtown. And then depending on where you're putting the crosswalks, going to really determine where you're putting your sidewalks or any changes in the common before we start planting any trees in places that we might plant them in one place, and now we all of a sudden have to move them because the sidewalks being moved.
Right.
So we've got to definitely, again, lock in, the traffic flow. Again, we're not doing some of the extreme stuff that was talked about in prior discussions. We're not going to do two ways. We're going to keep it still going in the directions that it's going in. But, creating some more safety situations when it comes to walkability and crosswalks and, maybe raised and lighted ones. But I think we've got to definitely hone in and finalize that decision and that plan. And then again, work with the common itself around that, whatever we're designing on the inside.
And I think Justin's taken.
Justin,
yeah.
Yeah,
on that.
between
You
Mary and
know,
Justin,
he's
yeah.
really working.
So
Yeah.
I'll continue with that because I've been working with Justin.
Okay.
The crosswalks are gonna be
Yeah.
next.
Good,
And he's been working with the transportation, the police and all that.
good. So he's been doing a good job.
Yeah. So I'll just continue that. I'll bring it back to you.
Okay. And then the work being done at the old mobile station, because there's a CPA grant down there. And, both the university and the Bridgewater Improvement Association have connections with the work being done there.
Do you know about that grant?
So,
Wasn't there
yeah,
a grant that had to be done to keep it, the work had to be done by July? Isn't that what Mr. Carlton was telling us?
Yeah, Dr. Hunt.
So we have $500,000 was the grant that was given for the project. I think there's some timeframes involved, but I know
Trying to finish it by June,
30th.
of this year,
June 30th.
that something has to be started or
Done.
has to be done.
It's, if you can see the work, a lot of work has been
Calden's been
done.
saying this for at least 6 months.
Yeah. It's been way since the beginning.
Well, I think within this, we need to bring this to Justin's attention.
I think that's why they're hard working down there.
That's what they're trying to meet that excuse me, they're trying to meet that schedule so they can get the grant back.
They've been doing serious work there,
I'm
fine.
telling you, Carlton, I've heard it.
But we've got designs, we've got plans. It's just about, putting those and executing something along those plans. I know the building portion of it there's thoughts and ideas, but there's
No, they're
nothing
doing
definitive
nothing.
on that
They're
right
not gonna
now.
open.
They're
it.
doing nothing with the building.
No,
They're
it's just-
doing the ground. They took up all the cement.
Getting some contiguousness to the property.
Doing, yeah.
Dr. Hunt, do you know exactly what that grant entitles? What had to be done with that grant? Just the
It
groundwork?
was a park grant, so it had to be for a park.
Okay,
My understanding is they had to have a plan for the use of the property and submitted and right now, I think the plan that I heard about, I'm sorry. I know the landscape architect who did the work, but I think they're just going to make it landscaped only. They're getting rid of all the concrete. They have to do drainage. There's a problem with drainage because the slope is out to the street. So they're fixing the drainage there. And then they're gonna put grass in there. There'll be a couple of parking spaces on the left as you look at the building. And there may be some plantings along the street. Maybe a
Okay.
swale where the.
And they're
water runs
redoing the
to.
sidewalks.
Yeah, I think the sidewalks,
Doing like an amphitheater type step offs
No.
coming down,
No.
no?
No.
They're not doing
that was an early plan.
thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Hunt.
That's objectionable.
They're not
For the
touching it.
BIA.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it isn't gonna go with that. So they are working on it. We were over there last week and taking a look at it.
Okay.
So, anyway. So energy related discussions, considering becoming a green community climate leader with important opportunities. So do you remember Lisa Sullivan? So she's our green communities. She's like the green communities person and she's incredibly helpful. And this might be something that we want to think about becoming more and more of a green community. So just thoughts and any thoughts that you guys have in addition for that. We just check and see what's going on with the energy codes. Again, Dr. Hunt is in charge of the energy. So, yeah.
The only thing I gathered from that discussion, and, some of it I like, some of it I think, when it comes to new construction and creating some of the things that I think that was talking about might add a lot of significant cost factor to new construction. And I don't know if that's gonna be super positive for, for builders going forward. So as that comes across our desk, as we look at that, that's just the concerns I have. But with some of them, I think some of them can be good, but some of them can be, a little bit too stringent maybe. And like I say, add a little bit too much more cost. If we adopt everything that they were talking about, I think it was, way to pick and choose. I think something to look at, but some of them I think would add significant cost to the building of a new home here in town. And then if there's any retros, you have to be compliant at some point in time and retro a lot of other buildings. And again, you're talking some significant cost factor to a lot of those.
Some of it
things. So,
though might be providing us with a lot of income, making things, what do we call it, when we put the lighting up above them?
solar panels?
No,
Oh.
Carlton,
I'm sorry, I'm,
light, green communities, lighting solar panels.
green communities, if you go to a higher level. May I speak?
Yeah, yes, please. Sorry.
Because this is what I thought you were asking to have the energy committee come and talk with you.
Yes, we would, but just give us a little hint.
Green communities allows us to have grants like we just got for the library to put new windows in and restore those. Also, the green communities allows efficiency where if you go to a higher level, you can in fact get higher grants for building rehabilitation. That's one reason. And to speak to Dr. Perry's comment on the stretch code, the specialized code, yes, it's a higher cost, but if the life cycle of the building, the owner's costs go down. So when you look at the full life cycle cost wise, it's an advantage for the owner of the building over time. So
Thank you.
So I,
that's my, it really, these kinds of things, I'd really rather be invited as a
Right,
chair.
right.
so the specialty one, it's very strict. And the heat pumps have very dangerous chemicals in them. And they're gonna update every 5 years. They're gonna, if you build a room or another floor, I don't know the chemicals, because everything has to be, completely sealed. So a specialist, besides having your building permits, you have to bring one of these specials out. And he has to spray it. So it's gonna cost you $350 for him to come out. It has to be airtight. I don't know the chemicals that are in there. They're trying to make homes airtight, which is not good. You need airflow. If you look at the heat pumps, and I know there's good and bad, but the heat pumps, they have their own little like propane tanks. They can be extremely dangerous. They're good for air conditioning. They're horrible for winter. I mean, when they came forward before, I looked on a lot of this stuff, and there's a lot. There's a lot of danger to it, and there's a lot of restrictions to it. And once you're in there, every 5 years they update it, and you have to go by what they do. I think, like, Dr. Perry said, it's
There's some concerns.
there's a lot of concerns health-wise, and some communities have had it, and we can look at the problems. And inflammable. I mean, I just looked at the chemicals that they use for the heat pumps.
I think a lot of things we were thinking about was more like solar lighting, parking lots. And
That would be
things-
great.
Things like that
Yeah.
that really bring a lot of money in with them.
But we're already under our green kind of thing. This is the next step up to the specialized.
Right.
And that's, I mean, I wouldn't go that way. It's just, there's too much that we don't know.
Okay, and so, help or encouragement for construction of potentially rehab facility at the NIP. We've already had discussion about that. So that would just be something to talk about sometime. But
Well, I mean, the residents had discussion. I don't think we really
Right.
did. I mean, we're not adding schools and stuff. I mean, so there would be more population up there, but it's a long lasting business, and we do need revenue. I mean, the whole town's is building, and we're getting more culture sacks and stuff like that. I think we need more commercial. We
it's a
can't,
huge option for commercial.
and we can't raise the commercial taxes. We don't have enough commercial. It's mostly small business.
Right.
So I would be in favor of a split tax rate. I never have been. Those communities that we have it, I think it tends to be more problematic than helpful. You might even drive existing businesses out of your existing town. But as
It might be
comment,
something to talk about sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, these are not like for us to all decide about tonight.
no, I totally understand. I'm just giving some feedback and, as you mentioned, the bottom, committee members' suggestions and thoughts. So just sharing a couple of
Yeah.
open thoughts. Again, I would agree. I mean, I think, a project such as that, at the NIP, over by the NIP, it's not, residential, it's more business oriented, from what I gather, a project like that could mean as much as $1 million of revenue to the town. So it's not, I don't think, again, would be a bad project. However, we are in the midst of our water crisis, which is improving hopefully, and we'll be, 30 days from now in a much better situation with our water than we are right now. But just the timing of everything is pretty tough and pretty
Yeah.
brutal. So if there's a chance and an open dialogue that can happen down the line, if our water situation's in a better spot, then we have that discussion. But right now, we're not in a situation where we can probably entertain that discussion right this very moment.
These are all things to think about. Some of them might be Justin things,
Yep.
to think about instead of us.
It's just too bad because that's a long lasting business. So if they don't go, of course, Clement's gonna look for another business to come in. And this business is just, I don't know, it's less impactful.
Would have been a good one.
I agree.
So Hopefully we can, talk about it more.
Then there's the second to the last thing I have on here is, this weird little piece of property, maybe you know more about it, Kevin. On Spring Street.
Yeah, the big open lot
That,
there.
that has been there. I mean, guess it had a building on it 40 years ago when we moved to town, but then the building's been gone for a really long time and it has a for sale sign on it that's been there forever and ever. And,
It's either a situation where they want way too much money for someone to develop the piece of property. They're asking for a lot of money. I don't know if there's any contamination to the site, but for a long time, I assumed it was part of the, the Campus Plaza property too. I thought the same people that own Campus Plaza might know that as well. I don't know.
They put all the snow there. That's what I was thinking.
It was a dumping spot, right?
So they definitely know who owns it.
But it's just a question of whoever does own it, just might not be marketing it well or want too much money for a sublease or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's out there for someone to do something with until someone does something with it. There's not much we can do with it.
it's interesting. I'll tell you, like, it's bothered me since we lived in town. I've always wondered why.
Yeah.
Why is that just sitting there, And my sister-in-law was visiting from California. She's a planner. And in her job, she had created something that won big prizes out there for veterans. She made, what do we call them? ADUs? Is that what we call them?
Yeah.
The small. So she made a community of those in a place where you could easily access a barber shop, a grocery store, a CVS, restaurant, a place for physical help. All of those things are right there around that property. And she said, this property made a big deal. They made a big deal in California. They got prizes and awards for doing this. And the veterans came and were thrilled to have a place to live where they could, even if they were in wheelchairs or somewhat crippled, could get to all the places that they needed to get, including a train to go someplace else without having to make big attempts to do that. So when she said that to me, she said, it looked just like that, it could do that. And I don't know if it's contaminated grain. I mean, I think I heard that.
Could be
35 years ago.
part of the reason why, because it was old True Factory building there at one point in time, so.
And
knows what's
she had said to me, I said, well, what if it's contaminated ground? And she said, when it's contaminated ground, you can actually cover it over so that it can't leak out and do anything. And it's safe. Maybe you can clean it. I don't know if you can clean it. I have no idea who owns that or what it's doing, but I just know that every time I go grocery shopping, it bugs me.
It would be nice to have something there for the kids, because on half days, the kids wander around, they have nothing, they can walk, you know what I mean?
I'll tell you another thing I want. We are so close to the schools. I want there to be something at the townhouse where the kids go, when they get out of school, where they can write books and we can sell their books, where they can paint pictures and
So we need
they
something
can take
outdoors for
music
them.
lessons.
Yeah.
True too, but maybe
Maybe.
the common. Maybe the common.
Well, maybe that lot,
Or maybe down
yeah.
there, or maybe something at the,
Because you need it for like the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Those are the ones that we get down here. And Burger King, that's a great thing. They give out, all
that's
the time.
true.
So they know the kids are coming and they handle it well because they get swamped.
Yeah,
So I think, and to keep the kids outdoor, even if it was like a skateboard rink or something, to keep them outside,
right.
let them exercise.
So those are things, if you guys have things that we just maybe ought to stick in our heads and have there. If the community has things sticking in their heads that they'd like to stick in ours, I wish people would send us those kinds of information, things that we can do for community and economic development. To make Bridgewater is a lovely place to live, make it a lovelier place to live and be. Yeah,
So we're gonna be meeting with the joint planning board meeting on June 20th.
So one of the things I had spoken with Justin about was reaching out to Pat and kind of picking up the ball
Right.
where Johnny had left off.
Nothing
Since
started.
his name is kind of on that, the revisions on the form-based code. So I want to kind of pick up the ball from where Johnny left off, meet with Pat and go over the discussions that they've had in preparation for this joint meeting. Because again, I believe that's where we're going to be discussing the revisions that were brought forward.
So Kevin, with that order, can you make sure that we have he's just puts what he's changing, put the whole paragraph of what.
What was there and then what is being
Yeah,
changed to. Yeah, no,
If you could do that, I'd
yeah.
appreciate it.
of course, yeah. No, I went in between now and
I'm
then.
doing that before.
You have the wrong date down for the public hearing. It's June 17th.
Oh, June 17th.
You have it June 20th is a Saturday.
I thought she was just working us hard.
June 17th, and it has to be advertised twice.
Okay.
That's fine. No, I'll reach out to
Can you?
Pat between now.
Before that?
I'll talk to Pat before.
Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Are there-
This was really good. I appreciate the list you came up with. I thought it was a really good idea.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate you folks coming in and giving us some things.
Are we able to?
Yeah, and we will do public comments. Yeah, do we need to do anything more about next steps, meeting dates?
Well, what is your plan of getting that large meeting together of people? I mean, are we planning on meeting before the 17th again, or are we meeting on the 17th for that joint meeting with the planning board?
Well,
Is it-
you're gonna have another zoning order referred to planning in CED, so
That'll come up on the 17th?
it's coming up on June 2nd. No, because it has to be advertised, so you gotta keep that in mind too.
Okay.
Okay, so when are we gonna have to? Do
Well,
we have
it's,
to do that?
it's gonna be referred by the town council on June 2nd.
Right.
So you'll
Okay,
probably meet on July 1st with planning board for a joint meeting.
I won't be here July 1st.
All right, then you can't do it that day. Then it would be July 15th.
for July 1st?
No, we're not gonna be able to because it's gonna be advertised twice.
Oh, okay. All right.
Advertised twice.
So it's gonna be that next week after the 4th of July is my guess.
Well, it would be, they meet the 1st and the 3rd, so it'd be July 15th.
Oh, okay.
All right. So,
So are you having the 15th and the 17th then?
That's just gonna be two joint meetings with the planning board with us.
June 17th and then July 15th.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
gonna be,
in July, okay, June and July,
Yeah.
okay.
but for your meeting that you're suggesting, when were you looking to do that?
well, that's what I'm trying to think.
Because we are now gonna be getting to summer months and dealing with people vacations.
Right,
and things
everybody
like that.
vacationing, yeah. Vacationing, traveling.
Why don't you talk with Justin to see, and then we could, maybe if we just meet once between us to go over stuff that,
Well, we wanna go back over the resolution as well
Yeah.
after a certain amount of time, so.
And then maybe, August, he can get everybody together. Or they can send emails like him to send.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna start this like that, so that I do that. Okay,
It's July and August, we only have one town council meeting.
Correct.
yeah, one in each month,
Yeah.
all right,
Correct.
all right.
So maybe we can just get some CDs.
Yes, yeah, I'd like us to find things that we can help with, things that we can do instead of just. Anything else? Council members want to say? Then we'll move to public.
Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. I'm just gonna go through my scribbles. You had mentioned, Councilman McGrath, town manager is in charge of, buildings. I don't know what you meant by that he has power over buildings and would anything go before the town council for final okey-dokey or?
The town manager has control over all town buildings. He comes to us sometimes and can say, you know, this is what I want to do, but what you say or not say, it's up to him. But he always listens to the residents.
As far as School Street, it would be nice if the music alley, though I never ended up partaking in the music alley. But it would be nice if that stayed. I know that they always had a chess club there. I don't know if they still do. Sometimes they go to the library, but they, you know, do there. So that was utilized and that was seemed pretty, family oriented, family friendly. And, at that time of night, they did have parking available. Which leads me to parking, as much as I would hate to see that old fire station go, that, you know, it's not the same as it was way back. I mean, it has changed over the years, but if it was to go, I think it would be a better use for the town to have it as parking, not for the school, but for residents of the town. And, because you're talking about, mentioning, people have mentioned, make a restaurant, do this and that. That's fine and dandy, but where are they all gonna park? There's no place for those people to park for these things that you want to build. So I think that would be a great place to have parking. That's my 2 cents on that. And as far as the ad hoc thing, I was looking up, as you were saying that it may not be residents that could be on there, but I was just looking at, of course, the town code doesn't appear to be updated yet. It just says the last amendment was in August of 2025. I don't know when these new charter changes will be put in to update, but with the help of Donna, I finally found it on this lovely website. The question was, shall article blah, 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 multiple member appointed organizations, except as otherwise provided by this charter, the town manager shall appoint boards, committees, and agencies, except ad hoc committees established by a majority vote of the town council to assist the town council in carrying out the council's responsibilities. Members of all appointed boards and committees shall be residents of the town. All appointments of boards, committees, and agencies as defined within the administrative code shall be subject to the ratification of the town council, the town manager, former city advisory committee to help in evaluating and selecting these individuals. It doesn't specifically say that, it says it's a citizens advisory committee. So to me, a citizen should be able to be on. I don't think it should be all citizens, all residents, but I mean, all citizens, however you want to term everybody. But that's what it says. So it doesn't specifically say it has to be strictly town council. I guess.
So
it's your
no, that
interpretation.
say it's just not to make a big banter back and forth, but that's addressing how the town manager makes appointments to the boards, committees, and commissions, and that if he makes any appointments to these, it has to be a town resident. But what we voted on was an add-on to that situation, because under that, the town manager made all the appointments, including the ad hocs of the town
Right,
council.
because the town council.
So the vote changed the rule to state that the town council president will make appointments to the ad hocs of the town council. But everything else is still an appointment by the town manager.
Right, but it doesn't specifically say a citizen cannot be.
No, but saying, you know, again, everyone who's a town council member is a citizen of Bridgewater, just like everything,
Right, but I mean.
any other boards. But
Yeah.
again, that's just, like I said, it's the semantics and how you read what it's, you know, your
If you had a
interpretation
couple
of it.
on it would be good. That's, again, my 2 cents.
Yeah.
On the green community climate, I didn't know what that meant for residents, but I'm hearing it, so, you know, if it's gonna cost me more money. But, you, had also said you'd like to, mention about not, having 2 separate tax bases for commercial and residents, they used to not do it because they were afraid commercial wouldn't come in because it would be too expensive for them, but it doesn't seem to affect the other towns, and it's not, having a low tax rate doesn't seem to be attracting anything either, so I think that's kind of a, Rainham, I think, has split, if I'm not,
I don't think so.
they don't have a split,
No,
because
They
they
just
have a lot
have,
of commercial.
they have a lot of commercial, that's the big.
And they, I thought they were split.
It's not.
As
West
far-
Bridgewater, that's the only one.
And as far as the NIP is concerned, I hear what you're saying about the rehab facility, you know, it doesn't put strain on the schools. I get that. But it's the development in that area is overdeveloped. It's a ACEC area. The area is, you know, as much as you would want it, it's just can't. I mean, they're already trying to get the hotel in there and they want to put even more. And then he's not going to stop it, just the rehab. And so it's been an uphill battle, but there were concerns about that building that we had to, you know, watch closely. But the NIP is run its course, and I would hate to see, a lot of us would hate to see any more development down there. So I just keep that in mind when you're thinking of that. I don't know where else it could be, and I'm not going to say I would be happy wherever else, but the NIP is being destroyed in that area. And I think that was just, we need to curb development at the NIP, and hope you listen to what Melissa Renadette said. And I just don't know when the town code is going to be amended. And I know you guys don't have anything to do with it, but please push for that website to be fixed. It's awful. You can't search. You search something and it says, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's worse than it ever was.
It's been
Yes.
They upgrade.
and I still don't get notifications. I still can't get the email saying to remind me there's a meeting.
And unfortunately, one of the employees was laid off, so.
But they've
But
been
it's
saying
like-
for over a year they were gonna fix this and
The upgrade.
it's not.
No,
It's not. But anyways, those are my I guess my comments, right? Parking. Whatever. Thank you for listening.
Does somebody else want to go first?
Anybody want to go?
Yes, Adeline Ellenberg, 76 Aldrich Road, and I agree with the interpretation that citizens, all citizens, would be eligible to be on the ad hoc committees. Now, why I'm concerned about it is I would like people who have expertise in various areas. Someone who knows construction, for example, someone who knows plumbing, someone who knows electric. I would like citizens of these sorts to be on this ad hoc committee and be a watchdog to what's going on with the people that we hire to actually do the work.
Can I speak to that?
Is Adeline done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay.
It's called a building committee. This building had a building committee oversaw it. Other buildings have that. It's not a planning committee. It's a committee that looks at and works with the firm that's building the building. So I think what you're talking about is a building committee rather than a planning committee.
Okay, and then perhaps the article having to do with townhouse should be revised for an ad hoc building committee.
They don't have to be ad hoc. They are a building committee. Mitchell School had a building committee. Williams School had a building committee. And the town appointments, and they are professionals that see and work and talk to the development. So that's
This
my,
building had a building committee.
yeah, and this is my
Yes.
respectfully submitted change that I would ask for that. But it's premature a little bit because we don't have a contract in place. We don't even have a building plan in place. But
Anyone? You guys done over there?
Yeah,
Anyone want to? I mean, I hate to.
Anybody still listening on there that we can't see who wants to speak?
I have two people online if they want to raise their hand. Nope.
Okay, all right. Thank you for listening. Donna.
On the mobile station, I was a little concerned to learn tonight that the grant was about to expire. We hadn't been able to do anything. I don't know if you can share the reason of what happened there to cause us to be in a hurry up and get this done before we lose the money. As a resident, I'd like to know that.
When the grant was given,
Mhm.
it was given a time period.
Right.
And so that's why the time period is in there.
Correct, but why wouldn't we have started when we got the grant?
That I don't know. I presume it goes with whomever was overseeing the grant.
In the crossover of new town managers. I don't know.
It's just
I
concerning.
believe
because
Bob Ruley went and got the money for the project, and again, I just don't know what the delay was. I know there was a bunch of, plans for it and design of there had to be a final, decision between BIA and the town as far as the direction of the plans or whatever, so that might have been something that's delaying. I'm gonna ask Justin the next time I meet with him,
Okay,
just,
thank you.
what the situation is on that.
I mean, it's nice to see something being done because it is an eyesore. And that's why I brought that little article there, because it
Yeah.
sounded like a lot of what you had all been talking about in the past. Just make a very small comment about the plantings. It did look really nice. I know it was 2 years ago when it got cleaned up and mums were planted in the planter near the road. It looked a little bit better. It was just prior to BSU homecomings. I think there was collaboration.
You did that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
they sent people
And-
money to do that.
Yeah, but then what happened is it wasn't maintained, and they sat there for almost a year before, and the weeds would come. So whatever we do there for plantings, I'd highly recommend it be something low maintenance, whether it be low shrubs that can easily be maintained till we figure out what we'll do with the property, so it doesn't look great, and then all of a sudden, look a mess again. As far as this committee goes, I'm really happy and excited to see that it's formed. I just make a recommendation that maybe so that the public understands the committee, establish a mission statement for your committee of what the purpose of this committee is. And I think that would go a long way to guide how you operate and how other things, whether they be, business people or not, fold into this, and how the town management employees utilize your committee or don't utilize it.
Right.
I think that will help a lot. And if this committee is going to be charged with going out or helping to recruit commercial business to town, then that should be part of your mission statement. Or if it's going to be town employees that do it, or you do it in conjunction with it. But we do need commercial. When I say commercial, I, in my mind, commercial is non-apartment building.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well,
So
the problem is, a lot of mixed use that they want to support nowadays. They don't want to do.
we can't afford,
Oh, I know.
our schools can't afford
I
it.
know that.
And that's my, I love the area by the NIP, but my other concern there is too, if something like the Encompass Hospital doesn't go in there, the property owners there will put in more apartments.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to look at, I don't think we could stop them, from what I understand. They own the land, they have the rights to development, and it's almost, you gotta pick your least evil.
Yes, right.
And just seeing that what the Encompass offered, it didn't put a drain on schools,
Pretty much better
probably
situation.
minimal drain on emergency services, because the people will already be there hospitalized. It won't be, and it's a physical therapy rehab.
Probably gave us enough tax money to pay the schools what we need to pay now.
It would probably go a long way, and it would be the professional jobs coming into the community, and maybe it gets negotiated that a certain percentage of the job openings be first offered to qualified Bridgewater residents. There's an opportunity there. And maybe they'd even put in their own wells. I don't know. But my biggest fear is that it would become another apartment building, and we can't. It would cripple.
No,
It would absolutely.
not looking for that either.
Fit there.
Hmm?
Having with the, like, people to monitor that, and it really wouldn't fit there, an apartment, but.
I didn't think one would fit in other parts.
Well,
of
yeah,
town
I know,
either, but
there is a lot of concern with that building.
yeah.
There's a lot, it's not so simple.
But if this committee was charged with outlining what kind of development you would recommend that the town go after as part of your mission statement, I think that would help. It would help drive, help give direction instead of everybody going here, there, and everywhere. That's all.
So I know under in the admin code, they have, I don't think it's a mission statement, but it's a statement of what a committee does. So I think if you want to add more to it, we just have to write it in order.
It would probably be really good if we put it in all of our, when we put out our agendas
Yeah.
to say that this is what we're doing, and then if we want to add something to it, to add that,
Yeah.
it makes it clearer what we're doing.
And for the town employees as well
Yeah.
as the residents, it'll make it clear, you know, what they can utilize you for.
Right, yeah, right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Everybody ready to go home?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody out there who was watching. Thank
I
you.
would like to sit down.